What is the thing that surprised you the most when you traveled to a country you had never been to before? Northwestern Australia. I knew it had a reputation for being ridiculously hot. But legitimately didn't know Earth got that hot and humid. I thought I was going to pass out leaving the airport. That it's possible to weave through Cairo traffic with the skill of a seasoned rally driver, while driving a manual transmission car, frequently using the horn and sipping tea, by holding the saucer, not the cup, at the same time. Shout out to our taxi driver in Cairo. From a tropical country near the equator, I was surprised to know that the sun would set completely before 4 p.m. during winter or having the sun still up at 10 p.m. during summer. This messed me up so much the first time I went to an equatorial country. The weather is summer, but the sun sets at 6? That makes no sense. I walked out of Penn Station when I first arrived in New York, looking up at the buildings taking it all in, and my first interaction was with a homeless guy who shouted at me in the local accent, "Welcome to New York, butthole." It was exactly as I imagined. Iconic. The amount of eye contact and observation. When I went to Morocco, in the evening the streets would be packed full of families sitting and talking. These people would watch each other. In fact, even the way I'm describing it with watch shows how unwelcome and uncomfortable it would be in England. People would also make eye contact and keep it frequently on the street, just with ease. It felt so strange for me at first. Yes. Oh my god, I'm from Morocco and this has always been one of my main complaints about this place, and I never understood why it didn't bother other people so much. It would definitely be considered creepy in other countries, but here, people see no issue in staring at you and what you're doing anywhere, anytime. It's one of the main reasons I hate going out. In Prague, when you open a camera in the street, it's like a force field. People automatically moves aside to not stand in the way. The incredible security in Seoul. I'm from Latin America, so I'm used to be very alert at everything, everywhere. I forgot my backpack in a small cafeteria and after 25 minutes it was completely untouched in the same spot. You could walk at 3 a.m. with your cell phone in your hands and there'll be no fear about anything. My friend was once studying in a cafe in Korea and went home for maybe 20 minutes to change his laundry over. Left his laptop and phone on the table in the cafe because he knew they'd still be there when he got back. And they were. The exception to this is bicycles. Bicycles get stolen pretty often in Korea. No idea why that's the exception. Not from Korea but a very safe city, a guy at school had his bike stolen 6 times. He recovered it at the train station every single time. Someone kept borrowing his bike to get to the station quicker. Heated sidewalks in Finland. Absolutely lifesavers for me who had no idea how to walk on ice. No trash anywhere, either. Adding to this, icy sidewalks. Didn't think about it because I wasn't somewhere with obvious snow, but turned a corner in Vancouver and basically surfed down a block and a half. Probably only didn't eat pavement because I'd just been skiing for a week. Ashgabat, Turkmenistan, everything about it. The entire city, every building, is white marble. It lights up at night like a sterile Las Vegas. However, there is no advertising except for billboards of the dictator holding onto puppies by the neck to show everyone how nice he is. He has pretty much positioned himself as a religious prophet. The airport is shaped like a massive white marble eagle. It used to be a red building, but soon after it was built they tore it down and built a white marble one to match the current decor. Also, there is no white marble in Turkmenistan, so it has to be imported from Italy. They were the largest importer of white marble in the world and drove the price up so high it cost them ridiculous amounts of money to build the buildings. Strange place. There is a documentary on this place, worth a watch. It's crazy, like crazy. People lived for free at one point. The dictator made everyone climb a huge staircase every year. Weird guy. So I live in Australia. How effing fast everyone else's internet are. In Thailand we were watching a movie, and they played the national anthem and everyone stood up for their king. I'm in Thailand at the moment. There have been huge protests and speaking out against the monarchy for the past year or so, which is dangerous as it's illegal, with severe penalties. I went to watch a film a few weeks ago and only around half the people in the cinema stood up during the showing of the King's video before the movie. It's not actually the national anthem, just some rousing nationalist song with clips of him in ceremonial dress. This may not sound like a big deal, but it was absolutely unthinkable, even 2 years ago, for half the people to show such disrespect and to remain seated during that part. Living in Thailand for 13 years, I can tell you the people loved their old king, King Rama IX, that sadly passed away. He was the most beloved person in the country. He had so many projects and undergoings that helped the quality of life for so many people in Thailand. He was very connected to his country and people. I know for a fact everybody would pause and stand if his anthem was played anywhere out of voluntary action. I've never seen such respect for a king. On the other hand, his son, who is now the King of Thailand, King Rama X, is much disliked compared to the other king due to his lifestyle and carelessness for the country. That's why they're protesting the monarchy. They know King Rama IX won't be topped by any successors, so might as well end it. I say good for them. They shouldn't be bowing to someone that doesn't care much for them. I moved to Denmark a couple of years ago and the biggest culture shock for me was julefrokost. Julefrokost translates to Christmas lunch, which sounds like a nice, wholesome lunch to celebrate the holidays. The first time I went to one, my husband warned me not to eat anything beforehand because there is a lot of food. I didn't think much of it. I mean, we have Thanksgiving in the US, so I just assumed it was a big lunch. No. We have nothing like this in the US. Julefrokost is on an entirely different level. You see, it's a lunch only in name. What it really is sitting down at about noon, and not getting up from your seat again until midnight or later. The food never stops coming. The schnapps never stop coming. It's course after course, and the Danes can drink you under the table any day, so combine that with strong liquor over a 12-hour stretch and you are likely to die. My first julefrokost, I sat across from my husband's uncle, who kept my shot glass full the entire day. I was drunk by 2 p.m. and full to the point of bursting at 3 p.m. I have never been so sick as I was the day after my first julefrokost. I was surprised that in southern US, and many other parts of it too, I'm sure, you actually need a car to get anywhere. As in, it doesn't just make life easier, it's a near impossibility to go places without it, even if you're in a major city. This is 90% of the US. The only places you don't need a car are in major cities. Edit, since everyone and their mother are saying not all cities. Major cities have bus systems most of the time. You can get around without a car. It's inconvenient and time-consuming, but it's usually possible. A few years ago we went to Italy and I made my wife go on a side trip to Herculaneum and Pompeii for a couple days. In Herculaneum, we were wandering around in town when 5 p.m. rolled around, and within 15 minutes the streets were filled with people, not hurrying past one another, but just standing around talking, having an ice cream, drinking a beer or whatever. Cool, sounds like a story, the city just coming alive at the chime of a bell. Probably in Germany when I bought a beer in a convenience store, and they offered to open it for me, so I could enjoy it on my walk. When I went to Berlin, this threw me off. My tattoo artist took me across the street and bought me a beer, and then we walked around. It was such a neat experience. My fiancé was busy in a meeting that day, so the following day I said, hey, look what we can do. And I bought us 2 beers and then I said, now we can go walk around. She was so skeptical at first, but then we walked around Berlin, drinking beer and taking in the sights. It was such a neat experience. Haha, the good old German Wegbier, that's how we call it. It just means having a bear for the walk from A to B. Edit, I will leave the bear as it is. Fussballs. Singapore is unbelievably clean. As soon as I stepped out of the plane, I swear I did not see a single speck of dust at their airport. Even the toilets were squeaky clean and completely dry. Every day I go out to explore the city by foot and come back to the hotel with almost no dirt on the soles of my shoes. Singapore is a really funny country to me. Through passport control I was given a leaflet telling me if I was a drug mule I would be prosecuted and executed. Welcome to Singapore. Wonderful place that I really enjoy, but it's just such a funky beginning to your visit that I've never been able to get out of my head. The indoor gardens by the bay is incredible. Went to Gdansk, Poland a few years ago with work, and I was not expecting how beautiful the place was, especially the old town. The people were friendly and the food was delicious. I then went to Krakow 2 years later and was equally impressed. The way time is experienced differently. I'm from the USA, and when my dad and I fortunately had the money to go to Italy through a college program as a teen, the first thing that struck me was how laid-back people were there. In a lot of places, it was a very stereotypically slowed-down lifestyle, with people walking down the street, drinking during the afternoon, conversing and just causally dining outside. People didn't seem to be in a rush for anything, and while I'm sure they have their problems as well, there was much more centeredness across the country. People were much more focused on what was happening right now and what was in front of them. This was in 2008 though, so before the explosion of smartphones and social media. Also from US, I worked on farms in Italy. They couldn't believe how fast I worked. I was trying to be fast and efficient. It was puzzling to them. They kept telling me to slow down. It took a lot of effort for me to slow down, take coffee breaks and really enjoy being at the moment. Wish I could import that feeling here. Amsterdam. Knew they biked, but didn't expected multi-level bike parking lots every mile. Jesus Christ, I loved it there. Edit for those who have yet to witness such a web link. The gondola ride in Venice. Not what I expected with the smelly waters, the crashing gondolas with the drivers cursing each other in Italian. Nothing romantic about it. Gondolas are tourist traps, stupidly expensive too on top of everything you just said. You're better off enjoying Venice walking around, or take the ferry/water bus system if you're going far. New York, so many people. London, so many people. I've been in Sydney quite a few times. I'm Australian, and it's nowhere near as busy. About New Yorkers, they mind their own business. But if you ask them for help, they are some of the nicest people. On the subway, I asked a woman if the train went to a particular station. I always get on trains going the wrong way. She said yes, and every stop on the way to the station she counted down for me. 3 more stops. 2 more stops. 1 more stop. Get ready. And it wasn't just her. I asked a guy sweeping the streets which way some museum was. He said, "I think it's this way." The guy then proceeded to walk me a long block, so he could confirm it was the right way and point to the directions from a better vantage. We went into a restaurant near closing time. We had eaten dinner there and went back after a show to get dessert. The bartender recognized me from earlier and I explained the food was so good we had to come back for dessert. He said, "Hold on, tell it to the owner." I repeated it to the owner, and he invited us to join the staff for karaoke and late-night snacks. We started at 10 p.m. and we tapped out around 3 a.m. The restaurant guys were still partying hard. Anyway, New Yorkers are supposedly cold or ignore everyone. They do ignore people. Unless they have a reason to engage, then they can be super nice. New Yorkers are some of the kindest buttholes in the world. The smells of a different country. I'm from Australia and traveled to Malaysia a few years back. The city, the jungle, everything smelt different to any place in Australia. Edit, damn, I had a nap and woke up to find this had blown up. It's good to see it's a common experience when traveling to other countries. Also, thanks for my very first awards. I still distinctly remember the smell of Turkey, Egypt, Switzerland, Spain, so many countries we visited traveling Europe, and I remember coming home to Sydney and being like, "Ah, so this is what home smells like." New York is exactly as advertised. Everything I see on TV shows and movies are exactly the same. I've been to a lot of places, but New York is the only one that is exactly my expectation. I love the fact that people do indeed curse loudly and friendly at each other. Someone crosses the road and isn't paying attention, and someone else will stick their head out the window and shout some colorful anatomy question regarding their head. Does the pedestrian respond with, "Hey, I'm walking here"? To which you hear a response of "Go suck a DCK, true story, and I completely agree, NY is as expected." Japan has no garbage cans anywhere on the streets, but their streets were pretty damn clean somehow. RIP my inbox. That Romania is a hidden gem. So many beautiful castles, museums, and churches. It's ridiculously cheap compared to the rest of Europe, and the food is amazing. I was surprised at how much time the Balinese people spend on religious ceremonies, offerings, and worship. Yet despite being some of the most religious people I've ever encountered, they were completely non-judgmental and understanding of others. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.